guys, welcome back to Max Talk. So what we're going to do today is the tactical reload, which we also, we can call that a TAC mag, tactical reload TAC mag. And I'm going to just talk to you about that, and I'm then going to do some little bit of demo just for the sake of it, to show you a couple of scenarios. And what's important with that is that we can talk about tactical reloads, TAC mags, we can talk about that, but there's a few other things that we're going to have to cover at the same time. So what I'll do this morning is I'm going to do a sort of a modified reactor contact, a modified RTR drill, using some steel. Behind me, I got a barricade that we're going to use as a piece of cover. We all know it's not really cover, but we're going to use that to simulate cover. So, on the steel, I've got two pieces of standing steel, and then I got two pieces of ground and pound on the ground. Why am I doing that? Well, I've just set that up today to simulate a patrol contact. So there I am, and two bad guys are going to pop out, so I've got to engage those two guys as quick as I can. Hammer pairs, boom, 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 boom. I'm going to move to cover. Now, what you've got to understand is that when these things happen, we can set up ranges with steel and targets all day, but when these things happen, everything starts moving. So the reason I've got the targets on the ground is to simulate that now the guys are on the ground. Now they're either on the ground because I was successful in hitting them, so they're either down, wounded, whatever, or they're on the ground because they took cover in the same way that I'm taking cover. So my initial engagement is I'm standing, they're standing, and then after that I'm behind cover and those two guys are prone. And that's why I've got the two standing targets and the two targets on the ground. That's the idea behind that. So we want to try and add as much realism as we can, even when we're just conducting simple drills. So, we'll get to the tactical reload. One of the things we've got to consider is that we've also got to conduct scanning. So once I get into that piece of cover, I'm going to have to scan. And there's a couple of nuances to scanning. Obviously, I've just engaged some guys, and I've obviously fired at them. I've sent enough rounds to stop the threat. So those guys are down. Now, what you don't want to do initially is completely bring the weapon away. So what I want to do is that once I've done that, I want to break the weapon down so that I can actually scan the immediate vicinity of the guys that I was just engaged with. I've still got the weapon up. I don't want to be staring through my sight because that's going to give me tunnel vision. So just break the weapon down, and I can look and see what the general situation is in the immediate area of the contact. Once I'm happy with that, I can then bring the weapon away into a more relaxed configuration, you know, into a sort of a low ready or a patrol ready. Probably at this time, you're going to be in some kind of position of cover. It's unrealistic to do this whole thing standing without moving at all. Because in any kind of contact, at some point, whether you return fire or not, you're going to move to cover. Wherever the best cover is, that's available. So, in this case, I'm going to be in cover behind this simulated pallet here. So, once I can scan the immediate area, that's the first nuance. I can then bring the weapon away, relax a little bit, but then I want to scan, you know, the rest of the area. We are not actually today on a flat range. We're out in the woods. It's a kind of realistic environment. It could be urban, it could be wooded. So, it's not just the targets downrange that we're interested in. So we've got to look around us. At that point, we're going to actually have to have a proper look around, which is obviously often abbreviated with guys on the flat range to just a little sort of flat range scan. I'm obviously on my own today. Now, if I was with other people, a good way to conduct the scan would be to look from the guy on my left, scan out to the guy on my right, and therefore I'm also checking my buddies at the same time. If I'm on the flank, then I've got the flank, and then I've got my buddy to my right. In this case today, it's just me, so I've got to scan kind of all around, you know, just to see that everything's squared away in the immediate area. So, I'll throw that into the drill too. It's all layers, guys. We're building the training. We're always building layers on this. Even though we might be doing simple drills and practicing simple things like TAC mags, we're just layering these drills. Now, the tactical reload itself. What is the tactical reload? And I just realized I'm actually holding my mug rather than my rifle, so I'm going to have to go get that in a second in order to demonstrate this to you. Um, yes. More professionalism required with the videos. Okay. A tactical reload, what it is, in simple terms, it's topping off with a fresh magazine. So, you have fired, in some kind of engagement, some rounds from your magazine, and you probably don't know exactly how many. So you fired some rounds from that magazine, you've got some kind of break in that contact, break in the action, and therefore you're going to top it off with a fresh mag. What that break is depends on the situation. It's often termed a lull in a battle. It could be because you're moving from one phase or one activity from another. If you're just about to go into a, you've been doing one thing, you've been support by fire, now you're going to be a salter, whatever it is, it's a good idea to have a fresh mag on the weapon. So that's why we do this, before we move on to the next thing. And what I kind of forgot to mention was, you should also include your ejection port as part of your scan as well. Because not only are we doing a tac mag here, but even if you weren't doing a tac mag, you want to have a look at your ejection port, just to make sure there's nothing going wrong there. Empty mag, double feed, whatever it is, before you move on to the next sort of objective. What we want to do with a tactical reload is, if we've got other people around us, we don't want to all do it at the same time. So we've got guys covering their sectors, and then I'm going to talk to my buddy, and he's going to cover while I do my tac mag, and I'm going to tell him when I'm up, and then he's going to do his tac mag. It's as simple as that. We don't want to all be doing it at the same time. The other thing about tac mag is that we want to bring the fresh magazine to the gun before we remove the partial magazine that's on the gun. The reason for that is that if I'm going to take that partial off, and then I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do with it, I'm going to fumble with it, put it in a dump pouch, put it in my pocket, whatever it is, then during that time I've only got one round in the gun. If the enemy comes over the hill, then I'm going to fire that one round. Now I'm going to have to perform a combat reload, but the bolt's not locked to the rear, so that's even going to make that slower, because there's no mag on it. So what I want to do is I want to bring the mag to the gun, and then I want to swap it out, and I'll show you how we do that when I actually remember to go get my rifle in a minute. Okay? And then we swap it out, and then we put that partial away, and the tac mag is not done. Unlike a combat reload where we don't mind the empty mag going on the ground, it's not complete until you've got that partial put away. Another thing to consider is that as part of your tactical reload, depending on the situation, depending how much time you've got, it may just be a real quick tac mag, but it may be as part of consolidating on the position. If that happens, you might want to take the opportunity to bump your magazine. So I got my ready mags here, I got mags here, and maybe I got empty mag spaces now, depending, how many magazines were expended. And what I want to do at that point is I might want to bump my magazines to get the magazines into my spots where they're easier to get. Also, if I'm going to put a partial away, maybe I'll get the fresh one from the hardest spot and put the partial away in there. Maybe turn it the other way around, so that I kind of got accountability of what's going on with my ammunition load. If I've got mags anywhere else in a backpack or whatever, I'm going to bump them up into my rig. So bumping magazines and reorganizing yourself, replenning yourself, is something that you definitely want to consider as part of a tac mag. Okay guys, so here we are. So what we've got is, if I'm doing a tactical reload, I'm obviously going to communicate that to my buddy if I've got one. So I'm going to communicate to him that I'm doing a tac mag. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the tac mag. If I can, I'm going to cover my sectors as much as I can as I do conduct the tac mag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the fresh mag, wherever that's coming from, and I'm going to bring that fresh mag to the gun. And there's various ways of doing this, and you need to figure out what works for you. The method I prefer is the L shape, where I'm going to bring this magazine to here, and make an L. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to pop the old magazine off with the magazine release. I'm going to hold both magazines, and then going to flip it. I'm going to put the fresh magazine on. This gives me the partial magazine now to put away wherever I'm going to put it away. Notice how I brought the mag to the gun. Other ways of doing it are to go parallel, maybe put a finger in there. There's different ways of doing it. If you're left-handed, you need to figure that out because of the position of the magazine release. That's a simple way of doing a tac mag. The important thing is to get the fresh mag on the gun. So let's say I'm going to do a tac mag right now, and so yeah, tac mag, bring the fresh mag to the gun, and I take this off. And let's say for whatever reason, I'm going to end up fumbling this. The important thing to do is to get the fresh mag on the gun. So sometimes you get the situation where you're trying to get the mag on, it's not going to go on, and you need to give it a tap, or whatever you're going to do, you're going to fumble it. Well, if that's the case, drop the partial. Drop the partial, get the fresh on, then pick up the partial, then you can call up. Now I'm up. Well, I'm not up now because that mag's still sitting on the ground, so I want to get that partial magazine. Okay? So, it's a pretty simple thing, guys, but you've got to remember to bring the mag to the gun, and you want to put the partial magazine away. Okay guys, so what we'll do now is we'll just run a couple of simple reactor contact drills, RTR drill. So I'm going to react on the two standing targets, move to cover, and then engage the two prone targets. I'm going to conduct my scan with the nuance, look around me, and when I'm happy, I'm going to conduct a tac mag. There's no one really for me to talk to, I'll probably just talk for the camera. So let's have a look at that. Okay guys, there you have it. a couple of drills just to incorporate the tac mag, show a kind of scenario where it may be relevant. So what we can do is we can run drills and we can incorporate some of these basic techniques into it in order to create more realistic scenarios. Please like, share and subscribe to these videos. Trying to get the word out. Okay, we're doing real tactical training here, guys. Real tactical training. Okay, so thanks very much. Goodbye.